All right, everybody. So, welcome to Safe Space Talk. I'm Renee. I'm the inclusive midwife on IG.
And I'm Keisha. I'm the hood midwife _Keish on Instagram.
So, I am going to get us started today with lighting our little ceremonial candle. So, today we're going to be lighting this like we do for each video. It's always in reference to giving you guys all the positive vibes, making sure that you know we're thinking about you. Hang in there one more day. Do everything you can, whether you're doing something big, something small, or literally just trying to breathe and blink up in this joint, because let me tell you what, the struggle is real. This does not want to light. This little candle has kindled its last minute. Tap, tap, tap. So this is for us sending out all the positive vibes for you guys, letting you know that we're thinking about you. We adore you. Reach out if you ever need a friend or anything like that for us. And then we're going to jump right into our content today.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the Orgasm
Gap.
Dun, 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 dun.
I know, right? Cue music.
Yes. So,
yes,
the Orgasm Gap. So Renee can let us know a little bit more about what that actually is, and I will move this so we don't burn ourselves.
Burn up. All right. So the Orgasm Gap is essentially, if you take, everyone, of course, we don't put labels on everyone, but let's say that we had a big plethora of all the types of sexualities. Who experiences the most consistent orgasms during sexual encounters?
Yes.
And that the gap is very well noticed, kind of like the wage gap is noticed from the sex of the person.
Oh, okay. Thank you, know. Siri.
From the sex of the person to what they do for a living and things like that, down to if the person actually has an orgasm and if they don't have one during their sexual encounter. So we know that the straight male tends to have the highest, and we know that the straight female tends to have the lowest.
Yes.
Which, if you think about that, those two would end up together. Right. So for one, this is a great expectation, and for the other, not so much. So
I actually saw a meme that said
orgasm
women are warriors. Imagine going into sex not knowing if you're gonna
have an orgasm,
and that
or
is
not.
Actually the truth. Like
the trust.
Yes,
bruh.
the especially for first time encounters, I have an expectation that nothing is really going to pop off on a first time encounter. Because they just don't know me well enough. I haven't trained them well enough to.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's sad, right?
I feel like you go to McDonald's and you get on the job training.
Yeah.
But they go in there with this interest to learn. They don't go in saying, nah, I know where the salt is.
That's too much.
I know where the fries are. No, you don't, bro. Like the refrigerator is over here.
I don't think actually that we sell fries here. It's McDonald's. You sell fries here. The fry machine works.
Exactly. And so does the ice cream machine. Yeah. But anyways, they go into sex thinking, I don't need orientation.
Because it's just like they almost get offended sometimes that you're trying to have a constructive criticism, but overall that is what the orgasm gap is. So I can break it down a little bit further, and we will go into the actual statistics behind each sexual orientation and how much they usually and these are self-perceived. These are like questionnaires and surveys. We're not like watching or peeping into people's rooms.
We've been watching.
They're hopefully honestly saying
what it is,
what is really going on.
Yes.
So when we talk about the orgasm gap, we are going to give you. We're going to give you a little bit of a breakdown as to sexual orientation and how they self-report the occurrence of orgasms in intercourse. So let's start with the women. Let's give them a little bit of boost. They can go first for once. They can go first. So we're starting at the very bottom. We have straight women. They report a 65% occurrence of orgasms during intercourse. So almost a little over half, 50-50.
Exactly.
You might come.
Close enough for government work.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. And then right above that, at 66% occurrence of orgasms during intercourse, we have bisexual women who, notably, if you still see, they are still sleeping with men.
I was just about to say.
There is still that common factor.
Because the lesbians kind of drive it home where you're like, oh, well, then it's the women on women too. No, wait till it's just them by themselves.
Yeah. And then above that, we have the lesbian women. they are 86%.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting close to 100% here, but that's a huge jump from the bottom of the barrel, 65, 66 for straight and bisexual women, to now jump up 20% just by removing the male factor. So
yeah,
this is not me saying this.
Yes.
This is actually,
Yeah, nobody asked our opinion for this.
This was
for
a
this
national sample that they did. So, and then we go to bisexual males, which now jumps up to 88%, so slightly above lesbian women. Noticeably, that's, I guess, kind of like, I wish we knew more of like the percentage of how often they were, choosing which gender when it comes to the bisexual.
Yeah, I wonder if
like
they're doing like 50% of the time with them.
Yeah, because
50%
it's
of the time
surely
with the
not
other.
ever 50-50 for them just because they're bisexual. I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure there's like a discrepancy in the
Yeah,
gender.
they should have actually kind of clarified that.
Mhm.
I would have loved to have gotten the information like bisexual females
Mhm.
when
with women,
with another woman, and
But I
when
guess they're
with a
just
male.
classifying that then as lesbian, or
They could be.
yeah. And then we go up one more percentage. Gay men is 89%, and I kind of sometimes wonder, is that just because how the physical act is done between gay men? Because if there's usually one penetrator and one penetratee, if that person doesn't have anal orgasms, they might get left out in the dust too if they don't have a partner that's willing to now turn around and
do the same.
Right.
Because then you're asking the question, because are you a bottom or are you a top?
Yeah, so then it would have to be in a different way. So it would have to be probably through oral or hand.
But if you think about it, though, think about it as a straight female. On the flip side, you can use your vibrator while having intercourse with a male.
But he's not the one who did it to you?
Exactly. So let's say that they're stroking themselves while they're being penetrated, they could still have that orgasm. So the opportunity is still there.
Yeah. So
or maybe I'm just maybe I'm just orgasm hungry.
Maybe we're too nosy. Maybe this is like questions that they're like, you don't need to know this that much in depth.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, it is something that you should do your due diligence to try to make happen for yourself as well. So I'm thinking like, just because they may not
put some effort into
have like an anal orgasm, they could still do something for themselves while it's being done.
Yeah. But then I'm like, that's not attributing it to the other partner. Then you
exactly. Yeah, it wasn't your. Well, because if we say that, then the straight men are gonna be mad.
Oh well.
Because if I use my toy,
they're coming enough to get over it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right. That part, but they'll still find a complaint, honey. The privilege.
And then firstly, we have at 95%, we have straight men. 95% occurrence of orgasms during intercourse. So I can get behind this. I've seen many charts on here. They all are pretty much around the same numbers and figures. So you can see there's a 30% gap between women and men in the occurrence of orgasms that they will have in any given chance.
Because it doesn't have to be intercourse, but just the sexual encounter. Yeah. Because I mean, if you watch HBO, for crying out loud, they come in the elevator within 2 seconds. I'm like, oh really? Yeah. Really sweet cheeks. Yeah. If you say so.
That's problematic also for women who think that maybe they're too complex and that's why they should just not even bother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't tell you how many times in my mind it was me. I don't come easily. Actually,
it's not. Yeah.
It's not me. It's you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think because it's usually with long-term partners. As soon as I've taught them what is needed, they're like, it's not hard. You just have to take the practice, the patience to figuring out exactly how that person likes to. But yeah. So that is the statistics on the orgasm gaps.
What the orgasm gap is, and we went over what our statistics are. So what made us want to do this video? So I'll start for myself. So for me, the orgasm gap was really a huge deal because it's something that we as Americans, I don't know what it is, but we try to pretend like we're not having sex. It's such a taboo topic. We all got here from someone doing something, but we all have to pretend like we don't do it too. Yeah. And so that's one of the things, like as a practitioner, I think that people, they see you as this stark angelic creature almost.
Yeah, like, girl,
because
I
you
was
walk
busting it
around
out the
and wipe
last weekend. Don't play me. I
exactly
know why you don't want your period on vacation.
on
You don't
vacation.
have to pretend it's because you're swimming. I got it.
Exactly.
You're
Or
trying
you
to,
think the sharks are going to
yeah,
chase you because
you
you have
trying to get down,
menstruating
and
blood
I
in the
would be
ocean.
too. So come on.
And it's like, so the biggest reason for me is I want my patients to realize, or I want people in general to realize, I'm a sexual being.
Mm-hmm.
And not only am I a sexual being, but you can be a sexual being with me and feel comfortable as hell to say whatever you need to say. And then I want to be able to help you. I don't want someone going through life, and finally realizing at the tender age of 32, oh, this is what the orgasm was.
Yeah.
Like, how sucky is that? But that's what we do. We kind of send them out.
So many.
We Bridgerton them. We're like, all right, we're not going to talk about it. Good luck. But hopefully you'll find sexual satisfaction wherever you go. And
it's not, that's not even the pleasure aspect of sex is never discussed in sexual education. It's always very like
technical.
Yes, the technical aspects, like logistically, how does it work? Reproduction is big in sex. Like, it's almost like synonymous, I feel. It's not even like sexual ed. They call it sex ed, but it's literally reproductive health. Yeah. That's so I guess us not ever feeling like that is a part of the sexual act. I think for women, a lot of times they just want to be pleasers. They get their satisfaction and hopefully pleasing their partner. And then some, even from straight men I've talked to before, they said that they don't do anything. And that's always like kind of like the worst part, because you see like girls who are super pretty that usually just kind of starfish or pillow princesses, and then they're like, this was not as exciting as I thought it would be, because there's not a lot of interaction or enthusiasm behind it on her part. So it's always kind of like, what mindsets and mind frames do we have about sex, and preconceived notions going into it. I think it's to how open some women are, and how, if they'll be able to orgasm or not, because it's not sometimes as simple and straightforward, and we'll get into the types of orgasms later. But for men, a lot of the orgasms are pretty simple to achieve in some way. There's going to be some kind of stimulation to the penis
that
in a rhythmic motion, and usually that will cause
that'll be enough for that to happen.
Yeah, and that might not always be enough.
So when you think about it, what makes it important for you, like for us to broach this topic that everyone's probably sitting at home like,
because
I'm going to make it all the way through this video.
Because I'm a rageful person. So let's start there. I have a lot of built up anger. And so I'm always like feeling like, women are done so unfair in the history of the world. Like, that's not a secret.
Yeah, the patriarchy.
They could try to say, oh, she's a feminist, she's a this, like, whatever. I don't care.
Call me whatever you want.
I'm here to empower women and to bring us forth in all manners, and like raise and bring us all up to a level. Like, there's no one that I'm trying to leave behind. And that goes from the stuffy, starchy Karen whose husband is cheating on her and she's suffering about it, to hood rat Shaquana, who has 3 baby daddies, and like nobody's exempt from getting this empowerment. Like, I'm here for all of us to
for all of us
to progress. So, and that to me also means sexual health is a big part of just healthy mental health. Like, I mean, yeah, some people go celibate for years, and that's great for them. But honestly, like, who would not love to have a healthy sexual relationship where it's like reciprocated on both ends, and it feels like your needs and your satisfaction is important? Yeah. I think even a lot of married women don't get that.
And I feel that way too. I think that's part of it. Like, you can say I'm the mayor or whatever of Pettyville, but that's part of it too, because I feel like there's a patriarchal dissonance with having that orgasm. Yeah. That we feel like if we didn't say we had one,
even exist. Like, what?
They will gaslight you into thinking that you did have an orgasm, or that's all that you were supposed to feel. But the fact that it's like, they're like, oh yeah, I can tell that you had one. It's like,
I know your legs were shaking. Yes, because my legs have been cramped up for about 30 minutes.
Or I just made my leg shake.
Yes.
You just made me come because my leg is shaking. like the theatrics of it all. Think about how amazing of actors women are in life.
And it's doing us such a disservice.
Just a disservice. But if we don't, we have been conditioned to think that if we don't say that we came, then the man feels less good about that. Ego, so he's going to want to go with Shaquana, who's at least
she
if
make
she
it,
isn't,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
she's at least pretending to have the orgasms more frequently than I am, because he doesn't feel like he's a full man with me. I'm emasculating him.
Yeah.
So I feel like that too. I feel like it's almost like I feel with birth control. We can only get pregnant for a short amount of time, short amount of years, but we have to wear the brunt of it, and yet we're the ones coming the least, but it's our job to make the other person feel important enough.
Yeah. So and I think in this, women have to really take accountability in what they teach themselves and what they teach their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only way we can make a systemic change into it, is like, you know what you should demand from this interaction,
and what you should experience.
Yeah.
And that's part of it too, because you have to infiltrate to instigate. And you have to have that uncomfortable conversation with your kids. Like, if they're gonna, like, I have a daughter, and honey, boo boo, you can be uncomfortable if you want to, but mama gonna tell you, you need to be getting it in. You know, like, it's just, say what you want. That's my parenting.
Yeah. Part of a whole person.
Yeah, exactly. And making a whole person who knows how to say what they want.
Yeah, and you don't want them to repress that, because that's how you get like serial killers. Like, people repressing their like sexual urges, and like, and like, if it would have got caught earlier, maybe he would have been just into bondage. If he had a safe place to experience his BDSM fantasies and like a consenting person, they could have stopped there. But he never even knew that was an option. He didn't know that there was a community for it. And so now it's just this fucked up thing in his head. And he's like, it has to go all the way, because no one's going to let me tie them up and get away.
And
so
get
now
away
I have
with
to kill them. You know,
that
like,
way there's no
I do feel like it's a lot of repression on, you know.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but that's a deep thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's stop the serial killers.
Come more, less serial killers.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to go into the different types of orgasms at this point. So this is going to be interesting. We're doing this live live on the air. So we'll start with, I put in the 12 different types of orgasms because I remember us looking this up and there were like 12. So I'll start with the first one, which is called the blended orgasm. So that is where the clitoris and the G-spot orgasm meet to take you to the next level of orgasmic bliss. So basically saying that you're having both orgasms at the same time. So it's the clitoris as well as the G-spot. And then we'll have to put a picture on there of the G-spot. You know, that's probably what we should be doing. We need to have a legit sex ed video.
That's what Pierre told me. He said I should bring some toys and actually like do that too.
Honey, we're gonna have to get on that.
Yeah. So that'll be another
we're gonna have to do that.
We're gonna do a bundle, and this is part of the beginning of our bundle anyway. So you know, on orgasm, so our orgasm bundle.
Because I can't tell you how many women don't know how to look for it themselves. So anyways, yeah, we'll give you the roadmap, boo boo. And then Keisha will go into the next one.
So the next one is an anal orgasm. It says an anal orgasm can happen after sexual stimulation of the nerves in or around the anus. So I guess this answers some of my question to, you know, where I was asking of, you know, gay men, if they are the bottom or the penetratee, can they orgasm without any stimulation to their penis? And I guess through an anal orgasm. Yeah, and especially I think once your brain starts to make connections, it's kind of like squirting. Once your brain has figured out how to do it, sometimes it can't undo it, or it can go back and forth at will. So I think sometimes the more you create those neuron ties as to like, yes, I can orgasm through anal play, then maybe they will be stronger and easier to obtain. That's just something I thought in my mind.
But if you think about it too, I mean, just as being a female, you know, there are women that are like, don't put it there. And then there are other ones that are like, sign me up, you know, like lift it up. So they obviously have that neuron to neuron intactfulness, whereas the other one is like, it does not a thing for me. It doesn't make either of them
women
more
I feel like
less.
are like not into it at all. I can go both ways depending on the day. But I don't necessarily think I've ever had an anal orgasm. Like, it was still like another type, but that just took it up to the next level.
Do you feel like it took it up because of the experience? Not that you actually felt like there was going to be a peak at the end?
The peak is super strong. Like, to the point where you have to shut everything down after that. Like, get out, get away from me now.
Why does that not sound like it would be fun at all?
It I think it's just an overload, or it's kind of like yeah, no. As soon as the orgasm happens, whatever's in your anus has to come out immediately.
So you do have the orgasm, you just don't
Mhm.
have one anally.
Yeah.
You may have like one clitorally
Mhm.
while they're doing that.
Mhm.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was
Mhm.
thinking in the mindset that that was all that was occurring, and
Oh,
you were
yeah,
like, it's
no.
like sensory overload. I'm like, this does
Yeah.
not sound fun.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Okay, gotcha. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. But next one is the clitoral orgasm. Yeah, I get
This
the
is my
easiest one.
favorite. Yeah.
I get the easy one. Oh, I guess I should still read it. The closest to a male. Oh, is the closest to a male orgasm. It involves the clitoris becoming
Yeah, that
engorged
makes
or erect,
sense.
and the orgasm itself provides release.
Because the
That makes
clitoris
sense.
is like the male
It's super
penis tissue.
sensitive.
Yeah, the same tissue.
And if you think about it, it does. It actually does get erect and all of those things. And it is intense. So I can buy that for $1.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks like the male one. I feel like that's more of the squirting. However, I
Yeah.
do see where that's the easiest to achieve. It's the most common. So basic, which is like males.
Yeah.
It's so basic.
But for some reason, it's the hardest, I think, for men to wrap their mind around because there's not because the landmark becomes evident through arousal.
Yes.
It's kind of like, like you have a gummy worm penis and it's not doing anything, but, ours is on a much smaller scale. So I think they have a problem finding it and staying there.
No, I think they have a problem being enthusiastic enough to find it.
Yeah, that could be.
It ain't that hard to find.
Well, I mean, even on videos, even on like adult videos, you'll see the guy might pay attention to the clitoris for like 5 seconds. Yeah. And then she's already, like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah.
Like,
So
okay, sweetie.
I think they severely underestimate how long it takes sometimes to get an orgasm from the clitoris. Like, it takes a couple minutes at least.
Yeah, it does.
Not bad. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna be breaking a lot of hearts this damn video bundle, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Next,
and then it has to be accurate too. Accurate pressure, accurate stimulation, accurate. And this is just a caveat. A lot of people, I think, don't understand how close their urethra is to their clitoris. Some people think they pee out their clitoris.
Honey,
that's one thing. I think up until nursing school,
this isn't negative because we're gonna teach.
Yes, but up until nursing school, I think I was actually one of those people because all I saw was like a hood and their pee came out from somewhere around there. And pee came out
from around there. No, that makes sense.
So I think also.
I mean, how many people think that they pee through their vagina? I mean,
yeah.
So we'll have to definitely go over that. But yeah, I can definitely see that because there's the hood and then you have the urethra and then they're like, I just don't understand where the issue is. And it's just like.
Yeah, but so right. Like too much manipulation of that tissue can cause like UTIs, so make sure if you're using your hands, your mouth, be careful, be cognizant, be nice to your partner that you're not going to give them UTI because you got freaking backwood residue under your nails or
honey,
so
don't even wash your hands for nothing.
Oh Lord.
But we're not gonna go into that, so we'll go to the next one.
The zone orgasm is when you're not actually directly touching or stimulating the genitals. So I think just erogenous zones like thighs, breast, places that have a lot of nerve endings. Some people say the back of your knees, armpits. Those are all like nerve ending rich places.
It's ticklish back there.
Yeah. So I think, and some people equate ticklish with sexual.
That makes sense.
So so I think that is more like, again, big mental thing. You're just so excited that
and into it, which brings us to the mental orgasm. Okay, so the next one is G-spot orgasm, and that is the Grafenberg spot. I made that up, y'all. I don't know how it actually sounds. Anyways, it's the G-spot, but characterized. It is Grafenberg, but I'm assuming the way you're German.
Grafenberg.
Grafenberg is characterized as an erogenous area of the vagina that, when stimulated, may lead to strong sexual arousal and then obviously to an orgasm. So, which is Not my most common, but my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you were saying with your different ones. But yeah, G spot is definitely by far. I feel like that is like the cat's meow.
It's very hard for me to obtain.
Yes.
Usually I get more discomfort and displeasure before it gets to the pleasure button. I have to ride that wave, and that's why I usually tap out.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's me with the cervix. Like I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying.
But I'm not willing to take the road to get there.
Exactly. But the road but the green mile just ain't worth it for me. It's like, that's what I feel like I'm going through. But yeah, so for like that, for me, that's one of my favorite ones. But it's not as, I don't feel like it's as easy to attain as clitoral. No. Like it's just like,
yeah, you need a skilled partner or a skilled toy or a good angle.
Yeah, because it's all with your phone out trying to hit them angles, like Drake would say. It's all about the angles. Yeah, that's for sure with that one.
Vaginal orgasm. I've only experienced this one time, but there's a lot of women who this is how they, and I call them God's favorite because
that's what I said.
Why? How do you get this so
one of the
easy?
People that I know that says that that's the only way that they orgasm. Is like the holiest person. And
I'm like, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. And I'm like, that's why you experience this. You deserve it.
Yeah,
you deserve
you're
it.
God's favorite.
Exactly. Sure. And I'm sitting here like, no, he did not favor me. I'm just sitting here like, no, it requires.
You over here that you need frankincense, some myrrh, and a 3-day travel to get to me, but they over there like knock knock. All right, we're done.
Exactly. That's all I needed you to do is just literally go in there.
Yeah.
And
that must be nice.
It must be. I'm a little jealous.
But then I could think I was so overwhelmed the one time it happened that I just burst out into tears, and it was so weird because it was like a very I wasn't sad, but all of a sudden it was just like overwhelming emotional response. Yeah, and I don't know if that was the oxytocin flood or
it had to be something. Because think about women that go complete. And then they start crying. And I've literally been washing my hands and they just I'm like, oh well, she's complete. Let me dry my hands. Go ahead and get ready to
get my gloves on.
Get my gloves on. But
and so the gloves be all like
oh,
you want to hurry?
Exactly. So, I'm gonna check you with my good hand. My good hand. So anyway, so the next one is sleep orgasm and nocturnal emissions.
Yeah, a wet dream.
There's an episode of how old I am. An episode of Daria where they're walking and they're like, "What do you think 12 men and one male teacher are talking about in their group?" And they're like, "Nocturnal emissions." And that's how I feel every time I see this. And it's
not just men. I think that's a common misconception that it's only men who can have nocturnal, where it's women too. But there's not no physical evidence left over sometimes for us. So. No. That's why people, I think, if they wake up
or interest,
yeah, well, yeah,
then leave the women out of it. But I do feel like, so it's so funny. I think so. This video has put us through some trauma, y'all. So we had to re-record this. But I remember whenever we recorded this video the first time, I was like, "That's how I knew I was pregnant."
Oh,
every time.
Yes. When you're pregnant, it's like nocturnal emissions are on like 100. Like I wake up so many times, like God damn it, like again, and you be all flushed and stuff, and you feeling like shameful, like and I didn't even do anything. I just
and
woke
then I'm sitting here like my poor infant,
Yeah, like it's part of this dastardly dream with me, like
exactly. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm all ashamed, and then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why is this only whenever I'm but that would be how I knew it would be. But mine would be I was like, oh, I came in my sleep.
That's funny.
I'm pregnant, and it's like there's no reasoning.
Yeah,
I think it's probably just I'm like 25 minutes
probably
along.
Just engorged genitals. I'm thinking maybe
it must be because it was like I'd be like, honey, I'm like 4 days late for my period, and I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant. Here we go, because I had one, and I'm like, I wonder why that is. But I can say I've successfully had them, but I'm just sitting here like.
Well, and it's so funny. It's like you
didn't
don't
even
really
need
do
my
much.
help.
Yeah, you don't do much for it. You just sleep and
wake
up to a surprise.
Exactly. It's like, oh well, talk about the easy way out.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't get any easier than that. So those are I'll go over all the ones that we've done: blended orgasm, anal orgasm, clitoral orgasm, nipple orgasm, cervical orgasm, a coregasm, breath orgasm, mental orgasm, zone orgasm, G-spot orgasm, vaginal orgasm, and sleep orgasm.
So we covered a good amount. Probably sure there's pretty much more.
Sure
You know, people like
10,000 more.
asphyxia or like kinks or, you know, like I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's
you
something
know,
else that we would
yeah.
have to go over
Yeah, there's a
at
lot
one
of,
point.
you know,
Because
and
these are
that's
just
why I say it's so mental.
orgasms.
It's so mental, you know.
But I don't know that those are necessarily the orgasms as much as those are the preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think sometimes, like how I said, you make those connections and then you cannot
unconnect them.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it's
You
like
can't
I
unsee it.
cannot without like a rope around my neck now. I cannot
Mhm.
without being tied down. I cannot without
Yeah.
leather rubbing on
And
me or a
whenever you
balloon
take
in the
that
room
away-
or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know.
Whatever it may be.
Mhm.
But we'll see how far we get this to go, guys. Hey, tell us if you'd be interested to know. Like,
let us know what
hey,
you're
I'm
interested
curious
in.
to know myself too, because you know the stuffy Karens want to know.
Yeah.
I always say that. I feel bad for
ones.
anybody named Karen now.
The
but
Lindas, the Barbaras, the Deborahs. I don't know.
But for all of them, like I bet they probably do want to know. They just don't know how.
I think sometimes they want to know, but then they are scared of the answers because they're scared that maybe it might be appealing to them too, and then what would that mean about them?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can't wear their pleated skirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, either way, we've got some great content coming your way, guys, and thank you for being here with us through this portion. So we're going to jump into different parts of the orgasm gap versus sex and sensuality versus
some
things
education.
the education of
and
it all.
We're trying to gather people of different sexual orientations to be able to speak candidly with us about how they've experienced some of the things we're talking about, the gaps in it, and just, you know, navigating that sexuality and their preferences through their lifetime.
Yeah.
So I think it should be interesting. We're trying to get, you know, some people on board, and we can hear from people other than ourselves for once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would bring a lot of content to it that you guys would want to know, because it's one of those things where we all want to know, but no one
wants to ask.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you sound like a perv if you are asking. So what if the information is just there and available? And I really feel like it's really worth delving into that, because it's something that affects everyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to like a rope. Like, I don't need a rope around my neck to have an orgasm, but that doesn't mean that someone who does is worse or better than anybody else. I'm like, do it healthily. Yeah. Call me and say, I'm going to do this. If you don't hear a response from me in 30 minutes, like, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings, bro. 911 dispatch. Hey, look, Charles was on the other end and he ain't talking. And I'm gonna need y'all to go check on, 1, 2, 3 Plumber Street.
Release him from the chains
and
of
take
bondage.
the chains off. I'm not there. I ain't want to be involved, but I mean, I'm a concerned citizen. Yeah. Imagine if it was that open in the world. But I guess people are like, you can tell Renee anything. She don't give a darn. She is
I think sometimes, it's funny. Like, my patients will even, be hesitant to say things, and they're like, well, it hurts during sex. And I'm like, all right, let's get to the bottom. Is it deep penetration? And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, well, I need to know. Is the insertion? Is it the deep? Is it one side? Is it during doggy? Is it down when you got your legs pinned back? I need to know so I can help you. Help me help you. Help me help you. Yes.
Because I want to be here for all of it, and I want to make it.
And you just happen to have a very sexually free midwife. So I'm not, concerned that, you've had this many partners in this. Like, come on, let's get tested.
Exactly.
Let's be safe.
And let's start there. First off, I want to do some provider shaming. Like, let me be the first to say, like, I hate to say that. Oh, well, but I will. So I can honestly say, like, I've never felt comfortable walking in and, like, either saying my body count or this, that, or the other. Y'all, it was not until I went to Keisha and I was like, hey, girl, look. You're going to be my doctor now. You're going to be my provider. Yeah. And this, and this. And I don't care. She does not care. And it's like, I've never gone to a doctor and been able to say this, or this. You know what I mean? Like, because
I have sex workers that come to me regularly and they're like, hey, girl, I'm back for my whatever.
Exactly. My once a week check. Yeah. And it's like, when you find that, you have to really home into it, because everyone should be that free. Like,
Yeah.
why am I going to the doctor and
why do
getting
your
a prescription
choices,
and a judgment?
Why do your personal choices even need my thought outside of the room?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not the one that deals with the consequences thereof at all. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I be offended if you don't want to do what I'm telling you to do?
Exactly.
You deal with them consequences, not me.
Exactly. But then you can have someone that you feel comfortable enough to be able to say that with, which is what I've always wanted to be able to do. Like, don't judge me for it, just help me through it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, that's part of my little, where I'm petty. Like, that's where I want to push that. Like, providers, stop shaming people. Like, stop making them feel so guilty about saying something that they're not going to come to you to disclose that, because that's why they're trying to Google how to treat a yeast infection at home or this or that. They don't understand that anal, then going back to the vaginal vault, is going to cause a problem. So they don't feel comfortable enough to tell you, because you're going to look at them like, you let him put it in your vagina afterwards? Like, never mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. I asked the in-depth questions to get to, the core of the issue.
Yeah, and that's how you figure it out.
Yeah.
But so hopefully you guys enjoy this bundle with us. We're going to go through everything as best as we can and help you guys navigate this journey, and let's find sexual satisfaction and happiness and healthiness.
I'm for it.
Thank you guys. We love you. Bye.
So the no, we just did zone.
No, we talked about it before we started.
Oh, okay. So